All right. Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly mods rundown. Uh let's go ahead. Let me get my windows open here. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay. So, this week we had a lot of updates to some very important mods that most of us are using. I know I am. So, I'm going to run through those first. There's nothing else really that I need to cover this week. No super exciting new mods. There's nothing like that to go over. So this week should be a fairly quick rundown. I'm going to run through the mods that are most important first, and then we'll go through everything that's been updated or added this week. As always, let me know if you guys have questions. Hey Ken, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. So first up on our list, yet another legendary mech. This is a mod that had an update this week. As far as what the update actually did, that's the info from last week or last update. Basically all he did with this one was adjust custom pilots to mesh better with pilot overhaul. I didn't even know that yet another legendary mech had custom pilots in it. Maybe that's a new thing and I missed it somewhere, but apparently there's custom pilots in yet another legendary mech. They were adjusted with this update to mesh better with pilot overhaul. So if you're using pilot overhaul and legendary mech, you probably want to have this update. I gotta go look that up. I didn't even know there were custom pilots in legendary mech. So anyways, update for that. Grab it, especially if you're using pilot overhaul. We also have exotic inner sphere mechs. This had an update this week. I don't think there was anything big for this. It addressed scav mech materials not displaying properly. That was basically the whole update. So some little bug fixes there. But if you're using exotic inner sphere mechs, you might want to consider picking up that update this week. Pilot overhaul eternal. So this one had an update as well. That was the old information. He didn't update the changelog. Here we go. Added commander traits. So now the commander pilot has traits of his own. Added mech affinity and pilot health to the pilot select, so that you can actually see those, I guess, when you're selecting your pilot. Potential fix for co-op pilot select. I'm not 100%. It says potential. So sounds like he's not really sure if that fixed anything or not. I do play co-op every Thursday. Well, most Thursdays, unless we're having issues with the game. But anyway, so that is something that I'm hoping actually did a fix in there. We haven't really, I don't think we noticed any issues with pilot select in our co-op, but we've had a lot of issues with our co-op just because of mods breaking and whatnot recently with the game update. Pilots, fixed the pilots simultaneously completing training, not getting their skills or traits. That's definitely good to have. You don't want that messing you up. And then academies not giving skill cap increases was fixed. There were some other minor fixes in there, but overall, it sounds like this mod is coming along nicely. Pilot overall is something most of us have used for quite some time now, so it's nice to see that getting some regular updates for the new DLC 7 academies and pilot mechanics there. Next up, we got yet another mech lab. Had a big update. Well, not big update, but it had an update this week. Let me see, changelog. Yeah, so basically added tech-based info and mod icons to tooltips, removed mech rescale option that is now going to permanently be applied. So if you're running YAML, you will notice that mechs are rescaled. You can no longer change that using mod options. It's going to just be a permanent fix to the scaling of your mechs. Not a bad thing. It did cause issues if you weren't using it previously, so I think that's a good thing. Now hopefully people won't have issues anymore by not realizing that their rescale was turned off or something like that. I don't know. We also got a few fixes here. So demolition missions, crashing when AI lancemates use streak SRMs. Apparently this was an issue with garbage collection timer. That's been fixed. Mech models and loadouts were fixed. That's from Dead Razor and Mace 24DE. I'm not familiar with who that is, but anyways, Dead Razor, I think you guys all know who that is. Black markets should not have items with that leopard upgrade now. So if you guys are familiar with YAML using the leopard upgrades, there's an upgrade in there to where it opens up the black markets. So it fixed it to where those will not show up until you have that upgrade for your leopard, which is nice. And then we got updates for yet another weapon and yet another weapon clan. As far as yet another weapon clan goes, I think this is the stuff for the new update. Override DLC 7 vanilla clan lasers, change their colors. Yeah, this is all the new stuff. So now we have our laser colors match the old colors again, I believe. Hyper Assault Gauss was changed to just HA Gauss. And they also messed with the timing of it a little bit, so the delay between shots was increased, and the burst can now be interrupted. I'm not really sure how you interrupt a burst, other than just by dying or having your arm blown off. But apparently now the burst can be interrupted, I guess. Anti-personnel Gauss, the AP Gauss, has now been changed to A-P in the weapon name. Not a big change there, but the rate of fire has been increased, and the damage per shot has been decreased. So I believe the DPS, damage per second, stays the same. So your damage output won't change, but it will fire faster and do a little bit less damage on each shot now. So you do want to make sure you're landing those shots. The Protomech AC cannons, the PMACs as they're known, had the name change there, adding the dash in there just like the other ones. No changes to how the balance of that weapon though. Rebalanced lasers to better resemble the DLC 7 vanilla lasers. So basically increased heavy laser damage. Or also, I don't know if that means that was the change or it also increased probably also increased heavy laser damage. Rebalanced machine guns. So now they do plus 50% damage to all, as PGI did with their own machine guns. So this is just matching again how PGI did the vanilla machine guns. We're just making it a little more similar there. Rebalanced missiles to the DLC 7 stats. ATM's got a huge buff by doing this apparently. So I've always felt like the ATMs should have been better than what they actually were. I liked trying them out, or I like the idea of the ATMs having multiple ranges, doing more damage the closer you get. However, I always felt like they were a little weak compared to the LRMs. LRMs just seemed better. And then when you're at close range, the SRMs are obviously going to be better. So I'm curious to see how much this actually affects the ATMs. I'm really hoping they're more useful now. They should be, because they got he says here, a huge buff. So they should be way more useful now. I'm looking forward to trying those out again. Also did a couple fixes here with Clan Laser AMS, missile destruction rate, and the advanced SRM damage per missile was moved to 2.4. So some good changes there, some fixes and stuff. You definitely want to check it out. This basically is a good update to have if you're running yet another weapon clan. Then we also have yet another weapon which had some changes to it of its own. We have mod options, ballistic heat damage. This affects the new heat damage property introduced in DLC 7. So we now have vanilla heat damage properties for weapons with DLC 7 for ballistic and missile weapons. So this was just kind of an update to that. The mod, another update for mod options: disable ultra AC minimum cooldown. Non-burst vanilla UACs have this from 0.25 to 0.75 seconds. Disable ultra minimum cooldown. So I guess there was a minimum cooldown there. I didn't know that before. But anyways, that was adjusted there. A little fix. Override clan missile trail color to blue, like in yet another weapon clan, via weapon emitter missile. It's just a visual change there, not a big deal. Excuse me. Also rebalanced machine guns, just like with the clan ones. Now the inner sphere ones are increased, have their damage increased to match. And then clan hyper assault Gauss rifles, the HA Gauss rifles, fire logic and HUD feedback. So now we have the burst can be interrupted, just like I was saying with yet another weapon clan. I'm not sure how you interrupt a burst. I guess there's some sort of weapon, maybe a heat shutdown or something can interrupt that burst. That's new to me. So, yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Anyways, that's pretty much going to do it for our yet another weapon updates. Von Biomes. I know a lot of you guys don't run Von Biomes anymore because it has frame rate issues or whatever. I still really like the mod. I'm a big fan of some of the biomes that it adds. Well, a lot of the biomes that it adds. So I still need to mess around with it a little bit because I have been having frame rate issues and I don't know if it's being caused by Von Biomes or not. I've always run Von Biomes. There have been times in the past where I had some frame rate issues from it, but by adjusting some of the settings, I was able to fix that, or with updates to the mod that came out, it fixed that. So I need to check on this. Basically, though, this update, is that the new info for it? Let's go to the website. I actually opened this up so we could actually see what, because he puts all of his updates here. This was October 24th. So this was just a couple days. So this is basically the Von Biomes update to fix what was broken from the recent game update, it sounds like. Which might explain why I've been having the frame rate issues. So I'm really anxious to try this out and see if I still have those frame rate issues. I really hope I don't. Hopefully this fixes the problems that I was having, because we were noticing, well, I was at least noticing issues playing in co-op. I haven't been playing the single player yet, but playing our co-op game, I was definitely having some frame rate issues here and there. So I'm really hoping this will fix it. Really, it was the editor upgrade that broke some stuff, I guess. Anyways, if you want to see what all was changed, you can look through here. What's new is nothing, I guess, because he crossed that out. So it's basically just changes. There's nothing new with Von Biomes this week. But if you are using Von Biomes, it sounds like you definitely want to get this update to the mod, since it does fix issues that were caused from the most recent game update, or editor update, rather. Let's read through this real quick. Build the latest game, remade the whole fog system, remade parts of the lighting model, injection of an own post-process volume, and replacing the vanilla one for being able to use self-shot. I don't know what any of that is. Remade Von Biomes night vision and extended it to the new quality levels. A big improvement there. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Fix some broken things. Halloween special was integrated. So, I'm not sure what that actually adds. Inbuilt a system for all kinds of annual special occasions. Play the game around Halloween for some visual extras. So you'll probably see some pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns or something in the biomes for Halloween. This will likely only be visible through Halloween. So you've got like a week left where you could experience that. Lots of detail work, adjustments, hours of knee-deep in trouble. Yeah, that sounds like fun. So yeah, what's next? You can check that out too if you're interested in what's coming up next. But anyway, some updates to Von Biomes there. Important stuff. Let's see, chat. I don't have my chat pulled up down here like I usually do. Sorry. Agreed about the ATMs. Yeah, enough said. The ATMs needed a buff for sure. Have you had a chance to try out the audio overhaul Thunder of Succession Wars? No, I haven't. From the previews I've watched, it sounds overall pretty good. So I've tried a few sound mods before. I've never been all that impressed with them. In my experience, usually each sound mod has a couple sounds that I really like from it, and then it has some weird stuff that goes on and happens that I don't like. So I ended up just stop using all the sound mods, any of the ones that I was trying. That being said, I think I talked about this last week as well. Where is it? I think there was an update to it this week also. Thunder of Succession Wars. That's the mod that you're talking about. Yeah, I do want to try this out. I actually haven't heard anything about it to this point. So you're the first person that's actually mentioned it. Yeah, if it's a really polished, well-made sound mod, I would definitely be down to use it. The question is just the bugs. Does it sound right? Because the other sound mods I've used in the past, like some of the weapons sound effects and stuff just didn't sound right, or they were bugged, or that, you know, I'd get some weird clipping and things like that with the sounds. So ultimately I decided just to go with the vanilla sounds, or the YAML sounds. I think YAML adds its own sounds. Maybe not. I can't remember for sure. But anyways, I'm not using any sound mods currently. This is one that I may try. If you guys have tried this, let me know what your experience with it is, because I am curious. It is in collaboration with yet another weapon, so that's really nice. That should help to make it a better mod. So yeah, I think I will try this once I start playing the single player playthrough again for the new season, which I haven't started yet, but I'm definitely going to look into this. I don't know, sound mods. I tend to focus more on the mods that affect gameplay more than like visuals and sounds. But yeah, that does look like a good mod. No, I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't tried it myself. But yeah, definitely looking to try that one out and see if I like it. Other mods that came out this week. Let's look at new mods this week. So date published in the last 7 days. We only have a handful this week. TA balance mod. This is Templar Armos. Interesting. Haven't heard of it. It's a new mod. Balance mod meant to adjust the game to feel more like Battletech board game values. Battletech board games. So that's not tabletop. Isn't there like an actual kind of board game style game for... Anyways, you try that out if you're interested. I wonder if that works with YAML. Okay. So it is basically compatible with all mods. However, if you override it with other mods, then obviously you'll have it won't be as balanced anymore, right? Tested and works with YAML, Von biomes, Von missions, etc. So it does work with YAML. Feel free to check that out if you're interested. Dynamic payload kinematics. This is an interesting mod. So basically this means that your mech gets faster the more ammo that you use up. So the less ammo that you're still carrying, right? For every ton of ammo you use up, you gain 3% speed, essentially. Really, really interesting concept. Immersive, right? I mean, that is going to make it a little bit more immersive, realistic, if that's what you want to call it, using weight to determine your engine speeds. Makes sense to me. Could be really interesting. I don't know how much of an effect it would really have on gameplay. But yeah, I like the idea. I like the concept of it. That's neat. I hadn't really ever thought of that before. YA Corvids. I don't know what this is. Adds mechs of various weight classes based on the Raven's chassis. So it does require YAML, yet another weapon and weapon clan, as well as equipment collection. But we are getting a bunch of new, well, not a bunch. I don't know how many. We are getting some new mechs here, and they're all going to be, I guess they're all going to look like a Raven, more or less, since they're based on the Raven. Let's take a look at the screenshots. That just looks like a Raven to me. So different sized Ravens, basically, with different loadouts. If you really like Ravens, that's probably a good mod for you. I know like Baradul really likes Ravens. So he might be interested in that. I don't know. Check it out if you want. I probably won't be using that mod. And then we have animation rework for all DLCs, adds hip rotation to most mechs. That's interesting. That's another kind of immersion thing, visuals and graphics. Yeah, that might be interesting, actually. I wonder how noticeable that is. Anyways, that covers that. So let's go to last updated again. I'm just going to run through the list. It's only 2 pages long. You got Quick Draw. The hired steel version of the quick draw, you can use that if you want. We already had, what was the other one? The Atlas 2 hired steel version we mentioned that last week, I believe. Harder contract terms had an update this week. I mentioned that before. Battletech 3015 Zatara had an update. That's a nicely done mod. Adjustable weapons. This is kind of, so this is the mod that I talked about last week, which kind of I haven't tested it yet. It kind of sounds like it might be a little bit of a replacement for revamped weapons, because it does have firing modes for weapons. So I may be testing that out, because revamped weapon is no longer being updated, at least for the time being. Cockpit VR had an update. If you play in VR, you probably want this. It's adding different cockpits for different mechs. Right now you got Mad Cat and Vulture, but there will be more coming in the future. So I think this week they added the Vulture, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty cool. I do have VR headsets. I have wanted to try playing MechWarrior in VR. I just haven't yet. When I do eventually do that, I probably will make some videos on it. Yeah, I really do want to check out the VR. Gutbuster Gauss Rifle had an update this week. I talked about that before. Extended Negotiations, if you're interested in that, had an update this week. There's that Atlas 2 SLDF hired steel version. Thunder of Succession Wars, we already looked at that and talked about it. Let me go to page 2. Linux Modder, that's a mod management tool if you're using Linux. Catapult Classics, Zatara Clan Super Heavy Mechs. We talked about that last time. I guess that had an update this week as well. Advanced Repair Bays. This is a mod I used way back in the day. I don't know if it was the same. Yeah, I guess it was not the same mod because I used it like in 2023, I think, or maybe 2024. Basically, you're just adding more functionality to your repair bays, right? Might be good. I feel like there's a lot of repair bays with the new DLC, so you're kind of overloaded on repair bays already anyways. So TA rebalance mod, we talked about that already as a new mod this week. Lower base mech variants, if you're not using YAML, this is the version you want to use for that. Had an update. Better Markets had an update. The unofficial MechWarrior 5 patch had an update. I don't use that though. Zatara Super Heavy Mechs, we had an update there. So if you're using super heavies, you're probably interested in that. The rest of these, nothing really important. Adjustable HUD colors I've mentioned before. Even more advanced career starts we've mentioned before. So you had a couple of updates for those as well. So that pretty much covers it for this week. To finish off here, I'm just going to oh, hold on. Where's my Oh, I didn't open it. Okay, one second. Let me open my... Oh, that's not what I want to do. We just need the mod organizer to open. Bring this over. Oh, yeah. Okay, the screen's all the way over. Here's what I currently have for my lineup. I haven't updated any of these, as you saw as we were going through. I haven't made any updates in the last few days, so I do have a bunch of mods. I need a YAML, another weapon, Von Biomes. All these need to be updated to the newer versions. But you can see here what my load order is, the mods that... Oh, this is for our... this is our load order and everything for our co-op, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, this is single player. Okay, maybe it was on the single player one. And then this is our co-op play. You can see which mods are disabled, which ones are enabled. We are starting new co-op play this week. If you saw our co-op stream from last week, or from this previous week, we at the end of it, we were doing some discussion about what we're going to do for our new playthrough. We started setting up mechs, looking at the mechs that we're going to choose. So if you're interested in what we're doing for that, go check out the end of the last stream, co-op stream. What was I using? I'm pretty sure the mech, I still need to set up the loadout and everything, so I'm going to be building that sometime this week before our before Thursday for our co-op. I had the Golden Boy hero, I think it was a Kintaro, right? Kintaro Golden Boy is giving my, we're all picking one hero medium mech and then one regular medium mech, and those are the two mechs that each of us are going to start out with for our new co-op. Wow, I can't talk. For our new co-op playthrough. So the only rule was we had to pick mechs that the intro date was prior to, what was it, 3043, I think. Basically around 3040 is what we're aiming for, but we had a couple years of leeway there. So if we found a mech we really wanted that intro date was like 3042 or 3043, we were still allowed to use it. But we're going to be starting the campaign, I believe, in the year 3035 is what we decided. So anyways, I have picked out my hero mech I'm fairly certain is going to be the Kintaro. I think it was a Kintaro Golden Boy hero. And then the regular mech that I go with, I haven't quite decided yet. I'm looking at either doing a Shadowhawk probably, or maybe a Blackjack. I really like the Blackjack with the like rapid fire AC2s is really good. Well, there was one other mech I was looking at that I might use. But anyways, those are some of my options. We'll see what I actually end up with. Oh, hey, last December. I didn't see you pop into the chat there. Welcome to the stream. We're just about done here. I don't know how long ago you popped in. But anyways, yeah, so this is going to be our mods, more or less. We may add a couple more, which I will mention when we start the stream on Thursday if we do. But anyways, right now, this is kind of what we have for our co-op play, and then I'll go back to the single player. This is what I would use for my single player playthrough currently if I was starting it right now. I haven't started yet. I know some of you guys are probably waiting for the new season of episodes for the single player playthrough, the single player career. I just haven't had time. I was actually hoping to start it this week, and I've been so busy, I just haven't had a chance. So, sorry, we're going to be waiting another week probably to start that playthrough. But for now, you can see the mods that I'm planning on using. And then I may add a couple more to this. There are a couple mods that I've mentioned that I'm thinking about using as well. Particularly mods revolving around the pilot academies. Maybe that sound mod, I might try that out. I may even go ahead and use that shield mod I talked about a couple weeks ago. It's a new mod that came out where it adds energy shields to the mechs. Looks pretty interesting, actually. I really want to try. I don't know if I'll use it for our single player career, but I might. The other mod that I may end up using, and this isn't officially released yet, but I talked about this last week. You can go on the YAML Discord and find a test version of it there. There's a mod, and I don't remember what it's called. I apologize. I think it's called Disembark, where you can actually get out of your mech in the mission and go hop into vehicles or other mechs. I think you can have a backup mech delivered, dropped off by your Leopard, something like that is what I heard. Haven't checked it out yet, but I am definitely going to check out that mod. If I like it, I will probably incorporate that into my single player career as well for the new series. But anyways, that pretty much is going to cover it, guys. That's all of that's everything mod related for this week. Any new information you need to know, let me know in the comments if you have any updates that I missed for mods, or if you have any information that I missed in this rundown. I love getting the updates from you guys on mods in the comments of these videos. It's a great source for me to get information, so I can send that information out to everybody else in the following rundown for the following week. So go ahead and leave comments if you have anything you'd like to let me know about. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week. Hope you guys are having a good one, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Oh, comment. Are there any mods that you are still waiting for a DLC 7 update? Technically, yes. I'm still waiting for revamped weapons, revamped quirks to be updated. Revamped quirks, we actually are going to use that with our co-op playthrough. I don't know if that was in here or not. I don't think it is yet because I haven't downloaded it yet. But we are planning to use that with our co-op play. If you use the quirks only version, and I know you probably know this already, but for everybody else watching, it does seem to be working okay. I would probably still use that because the vanilla quirks or the quirks with YAML are pretty sad. So I like having a mod that updates those quirks. Revamped weapons, as a lot of you already know, not being worked on currently. Probably not getting an update for that anytime soon. I'm still hoping that somebody will pick that up and make an eternal version of that, essentially, or a revived version, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, for now, we won't have that, so I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. I'm going to go ahead and start the new career just using yet another weapon clan, and then hopefully still using revamped quirks, unless I find another mod that kind of replaces that. Using revamped quirks, the only issue that I see there is none of the new vanilla clan mechs are going to have quirks, right? Or are going to have updated quirks from that mod. So that's the only problem there. Other than that, I think everything's been updated. I don't think there's anything else that I'm really waiting for to start. That's why I said I was going to start recording the new episode, the first episode this weekend. Unfortunately, I was working on my house all weekend, so all day yesterday, and then today I had some other stuff I had to take care of. So haven't had a chance to start it yet, unfortunately. But yeah, that should be coming. Anyways, that's it for the questions. I will see you